You just texted. I just worry because I've got 1 minute to come in. And guess what, guys? I just found out that we're live. We're already live. Yes. So welcome to the seventh installment of Project Adopt Live's home chat series, brought to you by Hope for Animals in collaboration with friends from the arts and media industry. My name is Audrey. Hello, and it's wonderful to be here with everyone again to talk about the pressing issues of the day with fantastic guests from SPCA. We've got Dr. Chow, and a little later on we've got dear Alyne coming on. It's going to be amazing. Now, you're probably watching us from the safety and security of your home, but we want you to think about the animals, the wonderful, deserving animals out there who have yet to find homes of their own, and the many tireless, dedicated individuals caring for these animals in shelters and foster homes all over the country. These animals and their caretakers are in desperate need of our help right now, especially now that fundraising events and adoption drives have all been suspended in light of COVID 19. We at Hope for Animals are stepping up to raise funds for our animal welfare group partners, and we'll tell you how you can help a little later on in the show. But before we bring on the guests, we need to acknowledge the people who have made this all possible. It is the sponsor moment. You know that this is happening. Pet Lover Center has kindly pledged $5,000 worth of pet food to help our animal welfare group partners pay for their charges, and they are also sponsoring part of an adoption starter kit for any animal adopted through Project Adopt Live. Pet Lover Center has the widest range and freshest stock of products to help pet owners pamper their beloved companions, and also essential services such as pet grooming and vet consultation. Visit one of their 70 stores island-wide, now reopened as of 12 May, or check out their online store after this live cast. Our other campaign sponsor, the Pet Patrol, has pledged to donate 40% of the proceeds from three limited edition pet collars in their Pet Glam collection for Action for Singapore Dogs. Check out their Facebook Live video. They're running it from Saturdays at 2 o'clock, featuring exclusive products from this store and attractive prizes to be won. Our other sponsor, Lid Sketch, will be creating useful portraits of your pets at the very reasonable price of $20 for postcards and $25 for digital works. If you're interested in supporting the work, you can get a gorgeous, gorgeous memento in the process. Click the link below to fill up your details in the form. Moving along to our last sponsor, Magic Dowell Photography is still offering their amazing deal with us. It's just $25 to convert your pet's photo into a lovely watercolor print, of which $15 goes to Project Adopt Live. If you purchase this, you also stand to win a pet photo shoot worth $300. So check out Magic Dowell's Instagram account to have a look at their beautiful work. And now, we come to the part that you've all been waiting for. Our guests on the show today. First off, everyone has heard of the SPCA, the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. You've seen the donation boxes outside of NTT supermarkets. Maybe you volunteered there with your school or your company. Maybe you've made a call to them about an animal in need of help, or perhaps you've already taken the step to adopt a pet from their shelter. Now, the SPCA, for those of you who aren't sure, is a not-for-profit, community-based charity which receives no government funding and therefore relies exclusively on public donations and other fundraising to support their work. Now, their work is extensive. It includes an animal clinic, a 24-hour rescue service, foster care program, community sterilization program, education and outreach efforts, and of course their shelter, which receives an average of 150 animals every single month. Yet despite their long history and extensive work, there remain some misconceptions about what the SPCA does, and more importantly, does not do. Thankfully, we have the perfect person on the show with us today to shed some light on these matters. Our first guest is Dr. Chow Houting, a local veterinarian with the SPCA Community Clinic. Now, he is behind most of the clinic protocols and plays an integral role in daily operations and training. As part of his commitment to become a better vet for his patients, He is currently studying for his postgraduate certification in small animal surgery. He also serves and has served on the Singapore Veterinary Association Executive Committee since 2017. From the comfort of your home, put your hands together. It's Dr. Chow Houty. Hello, Dr. Chow.
Hi everybody. Thank you for joining us today.
I understand that you have a beautiful guest star under your chair.
Yes.
Shall we pull her out really quickly?
Yeah.
So it's always fantastic when people walk the talk and there she is. Isn't she beautiful? What's her name? What's your baby's name?
Yeah. So that's Mira, SPCA rescue, who lives with me now. Yeah.
Amazing. So I love it when we have all these foster fail situations where you feel that you're only taking in the animal for a short period of time and then it doesn't work out that way, which is
Yeah.
aces, absolutely aces. I've got my special guest who's just lying down and she'll periodically just come and just stare at the screen and figure out like how everyone's doing. So this is my favorite non-human. It's like, oh, mommy, no, I didn't put on my makeup. So yes, she's gonna be hanging out. Everyone's got a lot of questions. I know that the Facebook chat was going on for a little while, trying to figure out what the SPCA does and doesn't do. So why don't you just tell us if someone is bringing an animal in, an animal that they found or an animal in distress, what is the standard procedure for evaluating and processing an animal that is brought to the SPCA?
Yeah. So sometimes animal comes in through our 24/7 rescue service, and sometimes the animal comes in through a caregiver. And then when animal comes in, the first step is always to get a vet check to make sure is there any diseases, anything you need to treat, any wounds, and then um, after that, after the animal is nursed back to health, the next step is to check if the animal is sterilized. If otherwise, they will arrange for the sterilization surgery.
Right.
And then there's the two possible outcome. One is if let's say if it's a nice cat or dog, a good temperament, or even rabbit, chinchilla, guinea pigs, hamsters. We see a few different types of animals. If they're good temperament, we put up for adoption. But some of the community cats or dogs actually prefer to be back in their home environment, and for those animals, we will put back to where we found them. Yeah.
Okay, I think a lot of us didn't know that. A lot of people have
Yeah.
the perception that once it goes into the SPCA, there's a perception that it's like going into prison.
Yeah.
It will never return.
Actually, we have a few older community cats that comes back once in a while for various reasons. But yeah, and then some of the community cats actually have very dedicated caregivers who look after them for
Right.
several years. So we actually have a sort of like a relationship with them, and then they actually prefer for the cat to be returned to that whatever street or whatever void deck. Yeah.
Especially since it's an entire community that's caring for them at that
Yes.
time. We have our first question already.
Yeah.
She's asking, are behavior vets recognized in Singapore? And what does it take to become a behavior vet? What is a behavior vet?
I see. So, majority of the veterinarians that you see in Singapore are considered general practice vets, so GP vets. Then, and as the career goes along through the years, a lot of veterinarians choose to focus on a special interest or a niche.
Right.
So there could be dermatology, small animal surgery, and then behavior is one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then currently in Singapore, there is, from what I'm aware of, there's still no veterinarian with postgraduate certificate in behavior. Then above all these GP vets, there's a whole nother level, which is the specialist.
Right.
So like even for humans, let's say if you injure your hand, you broke your bone, you need to go for a specialist orthopedic surgeon to fix your hand.
Right.
So there is also a specialist in veterinary behavior in the world, but not in Singapore. In Australia, there is at least 3. So I did some training with the vet specialist in Australia.
Right.
Uh, has been a while already. But yeah. So if you want to be a vet specialized in behavior, what you actually need to do, like any specialization, is to go through vet school, graduate, and then go and do a residency under one of the specialists.
Okay.
Take another 3 years, and then after that you need to pass the exam. And then after you pass, please come back to Singapore because we really need you. Yes, yeah, that's about it.
We've got a topical question.
Mm.
Is there any danger? Because everyone is worried about the circuit breaker right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's really concerned about how there have been all these rumors on the internet that you can catch COVID from
Yeah.
animals. They're now carriers. Do you have a comment on that? What is the danger of our pets or other animals
Yeah.
infecting humans or humans in the community with
Yeah.
COVID-19? And has there been an increase in the number of pets that have been surrendered to the SPCA because of this?
Yeah. So to answer the easier question is there's no increase in number of animals being surrendered during this period of time, thankfully. And then as for the risk of us getting the virus from animals, there is currently a lot of research still going on, and then there's a lot of research that's being published. Thankfully, so far there's still no evidence that we can get it from another animal. So far, all the transmission is from another human patient.
Right. So don't believe every single thing you
Yeah.
read. There's a chance that it could just be conjecture at this point. Nothing's been scientifically proven.
Yeah.
How is the SPCA managing with adoptions during this period? Because I understand that the shelter only holds so many animals, but fewer and fewer people are coming through. You aren't allowed to hold adoption drives. How are you guys coping?
I think it's the same for everyone over the world. These are peculiar and difficult times, and then because of the circuit breaker, part of our protocol is to split into two teams
Right.
to minimize our interaction. And because of this, most of the days we are short-handed, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And but thankfully, as a country, it seems like we are making steady progress every day. So we're looking forward to going back to normal. Yeah.
I think we're all, everyone who hasn't left the house in a while is especially interested in that. We've got a question coming in from Shara. She's asking, do you have a case that has impacted you the most?
A lot.
Okay, why don't you just pick one particular animal in your care that was special to you, or maybe a rescue story that meant a lot to you?
Um, there was a dog called Harvey. I mean, I'll try to think of one that's the people are more interested in. So Harvey came in with maggot wounds all over his face. He's called Harvey because half of his face got eaten off. So we inspired by
Batman reference, Harvey Two-Face.
yes, yeah. So when he came, he was so skinny and he had so much maggots off his face, and then the maggots dropped off of his face, and he was so hungry he ate the maggot.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah. So and then his treatment took 6 months, and then part of it is because the maggot started from a very aggressive bacterial infection that is resistant to a lot of commonly used drugs. So after that, he recovered. After 6 months of, we even needed to do some ear reconstruction surgery to minimize the ear infection coming back. So it's quite drastic. And then because he's a Singapore special, it's quite big, and he's like 7, 8 years old. So in terms of adoptability, it's not that high. People like cute puppy pedigrees.
That they can fit in their HDBs.
Yeah. So but in the end, he managed to find a home 6 months later. So he was with us for a full 12 months. And recently, one of our colleagues actually went to visit him just to see how his life is. And he's doing very well now. He's a big dog, he's like 20 plus kg, and he actually bonded with this little girl, the one daughter of the family. He lets the little girl handle him, put on a leash, bring this little girl bringing this big dog out for a walk. And it's like, it's,
That's a really nice image, you know.
yes, and
Little girl.
it really reminds me why I do this, really. If you look at, because we have some videos of when he first came, and then now he's so different. He's almost like a prince, and yeah.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
We've got a pivot back to our previous question. I think
Yeah.
they had a question based on what you said. Well,
Yeah.
asking how can we protect our fur kids from COVID-19?
Uh, so a big part of it is how do we protect our family members from COVID-19.
Right.
So it's very, very, very similar. So it's like you have to make sure that you yourself is also protected. You wear masks, you wash your hands, you don't touch your face. And then if you have flu-like symptoms, you have to be careful when you're interacting with your pet as well. Because in the absolute worst case scenario, the 0.001% of your pet getting COVID-19 will be from a family member.
That's true. I mean, the dogs and cats aren't the ones running around hanging out
Yeah.
to work every day.
So you just have to make sure you protect yourself.
Okay, I've got a question coming in from Vinod and this dog. Vinod's asking, are there any behaviorists who try to train the animals enough to be available, such that they're available to be rehomed?
Yes, yes. So I guess later we're going to talk about Project Adore. Then the dog trainers will also
Right.
come to play, and then even in SPCA, we are very fortunate to have a very experienced dog trainer slash behaviorist to work with us to help with the behavior modification program. Um, I may have lost track. What was the question again?
Well, why don't we just get right into that? So, what is
Yeah.
Project Adore?
Yes. So Project Adore is a scheme that allows local breeds, more commonly known as Singapore specials, to be adopted in HDB flats.
Right.
It first started it was first proposed in 2011, and then the project started 2012.
Oh,
And yeah, and then since then, more than 1,000 Singapore special street dogs found homes in HDBs. And then there's recently this year in March they increased the height limit for the Singapore special, so the height limit has been increased to 55 cm. So
I understand that it used to be 50 cm. Do you want to tell
yeah,
everyone? So, you measure it from the dog's paw to the
yeah,
dog's maybe. Which
yeah. So usually I may be wrong at this, but I think it's the top of the shoulder.
So a
Yeah,
lot of people have the perception like, oh, 55
yeah.
cm, what does that mean? Do I measure the top of his head?
And
I just measure it to the top of
yeah,
his
and then
shoulder.
the reason why there's actually a height restriction is more of uh, allowing the general public to get used to seeing bigger dogs in HDBs. So
Right.
let's say if right from the beginning, if we have no height restriction, we were worried that there may be pushback from the general community
Oh,
about, because the usual HDB approved breeds are much smaller,
okay.
and then suddenly you have let's your neighbor have a Singapore special, then you tend to live, and then you have to be considerate with not just dog lovers, we consider everyone so that
That's
they
true. Yeah.
more likely, how to put it, transition to be slow to allow better reception. Yeah.
So I suppose to answer Vinod's question directly, there are behaviorists who are
Yes.
available to train these animals.
Yes, and then a lot of them are very good dog trainers as well.
Yes.
So if you're not sure who to choose from, you just make sure that the dog trainer or behaviorist promotes positive training methods. So in the older generation, there is they train by negative reinforcement. They use punishment, but now there's a shift throughout the world internationally towards positive training. And then even for AVS, there's AVS certified dog trainers. Yeah.
So, still on the subject of HCB and adoptions, there is a rule in HCB stipulating that only one dog per household is allowed to be kept, right?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
tell us a little bit more about the reasons for this restriction? I think you spoke about it roughly just
yeah.
now about how you've got neighbors and you don't want people to be too frightened in lifts.
And I guess part of it's also, I guess for HDB, primarily you want to maintain a harmonious living environment.
Yes.
And then a lot of times change needs time. You need time to change people's perspective and mindset.
Right.
So hopefully, as more dog owners become more competent and with their pets and then with their dogs, then the government can slowly realize that actually the restriction may not be something definite. Yeah.
And all things, as you mentioned, take time.
Yeah.
I suppose changing mindsets or changing people's perceptions, that takes a little bit of time as well. And I suppose the same goes for the animals that we have at home. Because during this circuit breaker period, I understand that, well, I know my dog at least is the happiest person in the house. She wants to campaign for COVID-19 to be extended indefinitely.
Yeah.
So I will stay home with her forever. But what would you recommend? I suppose for animals at home, they have to adapt to the change when the circuit breaker is lifted and all of us go back to work. That might take some time of adjustment for them. Do you have any suggestions for how we should manage their disappointment of losing us to officers once again?
Yes. So our pets also used to be alone majority of the time, and now suddenly we are back home, and then there's this bond, these interactions. So when circuit breaker ends, with when all of us go back out to work, most likely it will be quite a challenging time for a lot of our beloved pets. So a big part of it is right now we need to think about ways to continually provide enrichment to them even after circuit breaker ends.
Right,
Because you think about right now, you stay at home, sometimes you're bored, but then your dog or your cat, that could be their last 5 years, 6 years. They just stay at home while you're outside at the
right,
bar, things like that. So a good thing to think about is providing enrichment. So there's a lot of resources online
right.
about providing enrichment for your dog or your cat, rabbits, even guinea pig, all sorts of animals. A quick tip is you think about exploring using food puzzles, even for,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So basically, dogs are traditionally or historically scavengers. They spend hours looking for food when they're outside. But then now the food or the meal magically appears twice a day, and then they finish it up in like 5-10 minutes, and there's so much time idling around. So food puzzle provides brain stimulation, forces your dog to actually uh, uh, exhibit normal behavior, and then to explore throwing away the football. That's what I'm trying to say. And think about ways to provide that environmental enrichment when you are no longer at home 24/7. It's a very big,
That's an interesting point to think about because you don't really think about what is considered normal dog behavior or
yeah,
cat behavior. You just kind of assume, oh, you're domesticated and that's all you need to use your brain for. But
yeah,
if now that we all have had this experience, as it were, just hanging out at home for
yeah,
hours on end, I guess it kind of gets a little bit bracing just
yes,
sitting at home without having to think about
yeah,
all these different things, right? So
yeah,
if you have now been facing some difficulty sitting home and doing not much with your time, maybe think about what you can do for your pets to whom that's an everyday reality.
yes,
So
and
we've got
then
questions
yeah,
coming through from
yeah.
Kimberly. So she says, I would like to know the average length of time a kitten stays at the SPCA after being fostered until it gets adopted.
So so let's say if a kitten is brought up, if we certify a kitten suitable for adoption, usually that kitten would no longer be fostered because to increase the chances of finding a new home,
Right.
usually the kitten will be at SPCA, not at the foster home. Because in a foster home, then it reduces chances of interaction with prospective owners.
Right.
So, so usually fostered for various reasons, the cat is too young, etc., still recovering from a wound. Once the kitten recovers, we'll take back the cat, put SPCA, so that people can come in and out to interact with the kitten, and then possibly, hopefully, have a bit of affinity with the kitten. And then how long it takes to get adopted? It, it is the time is shortest for the younger kitten is, the cuter kitten is.
Right.
The older kitten doesn't it be harder. People prefer cute Instagrammable pets. And then
It's so sad, right?
yeah,
That seems to be the norm.
yeah. Color plays a part as
Oh,
well.
why don't you talk to us about that? I
Uh,
think a lot of people notice that.
Unfortunately, black cats doesn't. It's not as popular. A lot of black cats stay with us for longer periods of time.
Why do you
Uh,
think that is?
I'm not too sure. It's superstition. I'm not exactly. Uh, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. So some maybe superstition and black, or at the same time because each animal that's up for adoption is a competitor for the other animal.
Right.
So if there's a kitten, most people will prefer the kitten, and then it's a long fur cat or a mixed pedigree breed, or people prefer the mixed pedigree breed. And unfortunately, the local mixed breeds are not as attractive, and then they will stay, and then they'll hopefully find a new uh, home soon. Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people don't really pay attention to because when you're welcoming an animal into your home, you're really looking for a personality match, right? It's what's inside the animal that counts, and whether it fits in with your lifestyle, your households, your personality, and that seems to be the most important thing. So
Yes.
we've got questions coming in from Dane. So as most community feeders for cats and dogs are of the low income group, how does the SPCA help them? Do you guys provide free medical treatment?
So traditionally, we always provided free medical treatment. Traditionally, but then things are slowly changing because last year we officially launched our new community clinic, and because of that, we have upgraded facilities. We have a new X-ray machine, we have a new dental machine, we have new blood diagnostic machines, and well, then we embark on this grand journey, and then slowly realize if we keep providing free treatment, we unfortunately cannot find it's not financially viable.
Right.
Right now we are there's a we actually charge cost recovery, so you at least pay for the consumables. So
Okay.
you don't pay for the blood machine, but then let's say we run a specific diagnostic test, we need this test kit, you at least pay for the test kit. But then it's the cost of the test kit. So
Yeah.
there is no markup. So we understand that a lot of the because we how to put it, so for the care for the community cats, or let's
Yeah.
say low income families, they do have financially strapped, so we really do our best to help all of them. And then but we realize it's going to be totally free because some of the medications are not cheap.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Because SPCA is not for profit, right? So everything
yes,
that you give away for free, you need to try to fundraise in order to get
yeah,
back. And
yeah.
it's not as simple as just giving it away.
So traditionally it's 100% fundraised, but then we realize it's not as sustainable.
We have a question coming in about a
Yeah,
very prevailing perception of the SPCA.
yeah.
Whaling is asking, we have heard that once dogs are surrendered at the SPCA, those that are healthy will have a certain period of time to get adopted. And when they are not, they get euthanized. How true is this?
Oh yeah, so that's where I come in. so, so we have dogs that any animal once up for adoption will stay SPCA until someone comes by and then decides I want this particular pet to be my new family member. So we have some dogs that are with us for like 5, 7 years,
Right.
still with us, still waiting for good home. Yeah. So at the end of the day, no, not really. At the end of the day, we do build bonds with these animals. Uh, it's been a long time that we have been trying for a long time. We are still trying. Yeah.
So the short answer is that contrary to even my belief, like before we
Yeah.
had this conversation, I always thought that this question was true. You know, this idea
Yeah.
was that they have an expiration date, and if it's
Yeah.
not adopted within a certain time, then yikes,
Yeah.
that's going to be scary. So now we know that this is not true. But still
Yes.
within the same vein, E.M. Wong is asking, how does euthanasia affect vets, and what's some of the thought process put into this?
How does euthanasia affect vets?
Yeah,
I
because you
guess
mentioned that you bond with these animals.
yeah. So ultimately, at the end of the day, if we do need to perform euthanasia, is the last resort. This must be a reason why. So the most common reason is there's a medical condition that cannot be treated. It can be cancer, it can be end-stage organ failure, and then it's true that some animals, when they're rescued, they're really middle aged. Then when they're with us, they're still finding new homes, but then unfortunately they age. with us,
Right.
and then they developed degenerative like old age diseases, and then unfortunately cannot be cured. And then we do, we did or I did have to make the difficult decision to realize that we cannot let the him or her the dog suffer unnecessarily because unfortunately there's no chance of recovery. But the most important thing we do that not for us. The decision had to be made for the animal. Always the last resort. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it has to be done. Part of the job has to. But at the end of the day, it's for the animal. Mm.
This dovetails into a question we got from Aiwei. She's asking, how do you balance your emotions whenever you can't save a life in the nature of your work?
It's tough. It's tough. Really. At the end of the day, it's this is what we sign up for. I think as vets, we may not know before we started this journey, but then I think now all of us are aware of the heavy burden that we have on our shoulders. How do we cope with the emotions? Is by talking with other vets because a lot of times it's not something that a lay person understands. So for me, luckily my wife is a vet too. We share the same emotions, we share the same problems, and then I share my burden with her. Yeah.
And I imagine it does take a toll. So why don't would it be possible for you to walk us through the regulations and the guidelines
Yeah.
concerning animal euthanasia in Singapore?
So all the vets in Singapore they are bound by the code of ethics, which is enforced by AVS, which is the governing body,
Yes.
and then so in the code of ethics there are guidelines regarding specifically to euthanasia, and then it's written in such a way that it's not overly prescriptive because there's a lot of things to consider, a lot of factors. Especially the SPCA is slightly easier because there is no pet owner involved, but sometimes there is a caregiver. So we have to take into consideration the caregivers situation as well. But if you take into consideration the pet, the family, and then so when people talk about guidelines or like uh, checklist, for example. So similar to other aspects of veterinary medicine, like surgery, dermatology, ophthalmology, eyes, locally, a lot of vets we already reference well-established texts or guidelines overseas. Even for like dogs with skin problem, which is quite common in Singapore, we we follow very similar protocols with like America, Australia. So for euthanasia itself specifically, one of the most commonly referenced texts is by the American Veterinary Medicine Association, and the text itself is 120 pages long just on euthanasia. So it's like it's hard to condense all that into a few pages. So ultimately, that's um, so to be honest, every case is different, really, depending on disease condition, and then how to put it. Sometimes this disease process may have a treatment, but the treatment doesn't exist in Singapore.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the euthanasia protocol is different, and sometimes the treatment process, the treatment exists in Singapore, but the pet owner may not be able to financially afford the gold standard. So we need to make some compromises, and then so the if you talk about euthanasia, you can discuss for like hours on end. But I guess part of it is the general public. I think they are not aware of all these protocols and all these guidelines that's already in place. Then and then that partly contributes to the situation right now. Yeah.
Before we bring on our next guest, we'll take one more question on this definitely
Yeah.
very exciting subject. Uh, we're being asked from Sue, would it be possible to limit the vet clinics that can euthanize pets so that way those clinics have some accountability and also follow a code of ethics, heard from owners who think euthanasia is the easiest way out for flimsy reasons. Do you have a comment on that?
Easiest reason, easiest way out based on.
So I think what Sue's asking is
Yeah,
about the subject of convenience euthanasia,
yeah,
and she's suggesting as an option to solve convenience euthanasia
yeah.
that we limit the number of practices that are allowed to administer euthanasia at
Yeah.
all. Do you
So,
think this would be a solid way forward?
yeah, so I guess it's an important question because the term convenient euthanasia ultimately reflects how the veterinary industry is misunderstood.
Right.
Because they think about euthanasia is never convenient. Because if you actually have the unfortunate responsibility of doing euthanasia, you know how difficult it is. Uh, I think people forget that we are also humans,
Right.
right? Really, it's not like we press a button and the thing is done. It's a very deliberate procedure, and then as you see, the soul leaves the body. Um, every time you do the procedure, a piece of your soul really lives with the patient. Really, to the animal at the end, but then to the vet, they have to live with the decision forever. Next time you meet a vet, you can just ask him or her what is their most painful euthanasia. Really, I really don't think there's such a thing as convenient euthanasia. Ultimately, to be honest, decision with euthanasia is a solemn and complex one. But at the same time, uh, as vets and then as SPCA, we will never stop finding opportunities to continue to improve animal welfare. And uh, if there's a need, I mean, reviewing at the end of the day, reviewing protocols is no harm. It's a way of improving. It's a way of improving, and through that, more animals benefit. Then I think we welcome it. Yeah.
Well, just to immediately take your advice, you're a vet. I'm meeting you, so why don't you tell us what your most painful euthanasia story was? Is it only if this is a
So
solid?
I've never shared it before actually. I never shared it before, but the story about Harvey I mentioned just now.
Oh no.
Harvey's still alive.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, what a roller coaster.
No, no,
Dr.
no,
Chow, you can't do this to
no,
us.
no, no. Harvey's still alive.
Okay, good.
Harvey came with a sister.
Okay.
Harvey came with a sister. Harvey came with a sister called Robin.
Significant
Robin
family.
had a similar medical situation, but her situation was much was less severe. To be honest, Robin's medical wound was dealt with very promptly.
Right.
It's not that bad to be honest. Then Robin was healthy, was all good. But then Robin's another 25 kg aged female dog, so it's hard for her to find a home. Then while she was with us, she developed heart failure.
Oh,
Yeah, so um, in the end, I had to put her down. So for me, it was difficult because at the beginning, Robin was supposed to be the healthy one.
right.
Uh, but then, uh, but then, yeah. But in the end, we managed to save Harvey, but we didn't manage to save his sister. Yeah, so
And that must be really hard because you have a reminder through Harvey that
yes,
that he came as a pair and
yes,
you were only able to
yes.
do what you could for one in the pair. And I suppose if that is a daily reality for people in your industry, it, they're reminding that it's not that easy, and there is nothing convenient about euthanasia, and there's nothing easy about what a vet has to do, and so it's not a decision that is undertaken lightly. So, Dr. Chow, thank you for doing what you do, and we've got so many questions coming in. I think I'm trying to ask them as quickly as I can, but
Yep.
we're going to be giving you a water break now. I'm going to tell you about one of our other sponsors before we bring on our next guest, and we'll have you stay with us But we're going to bring on our next guest really soon. But before we do, we want to say hello to one of our sponsors, team making bark ornaments for your pets. Now, in light of our current circuit breaker extension, many of the animal welfare groups are struggling with rental and daily needs for our furry friends up for adoption. Hope for Animals creates communities within these industries to build awareness and bond. And as such, Hope for Animals artist team has relaunched the bark ornament series where you can get your pet's personalized onto a bark ornament at just $45. Now, out of this $45, $24.50 will be donated to the shelters, $10 will go to the artist, and the rest will cover costs and courier fees. If you're keen on having a bark ornament of your pet or getting it as a present for one of your friends, purchase this via the QR code on your screens now, or it's in the link to the caption. You can just have a look there in a bit. Now, our next guest that we're bringing on is an international social media mogul with 1.7 million, yes, million followers on Facebook and 245,000 subscribers on Instagram. Now, through her travel and lifestyle blog, Dear Alyne Tamir hopes to create online content that contributes to positive social change. Now based in Singapore, Alyne continues to produce weekly content about just about everything under the sun. It's Alyne! Hello, Alyne!
Oh, hi.
Oh, thanks for waiting with us while we dealt with all the thorny issues. I understand you've got fur friends at home to keep you company while you waited.
Yes, you can see one using her potty.
Oh, we're just
And then
we're glamorous on the
the
show.
one is somewhere sleeping.
Oh, that's wonderful. So how long have you had these fur babies?
So we've had Winky. Winky's named Winky because one of his eyes is more smaller than the other. We've had Winky for maybe 3 weeks, and I think we've had Chairman Meow is the other one for like 2 weeks.
What's his name again?
Chairman Meow.
Herman Yao.
I'm gonna get him.
That's a thing with animals that you bring into your life, right? You never. Oh, there's. Oh, look at that. Hello, darling.
Actually, I wanted to ask a question to Dr. Chow.
Yeah.
So I was walking home, and I'm not from Singapore, so I've only lived here less than a year, and I'm traveling most of the time, so I don't understand how it works with animals here. And I was walking home, and I heard this cat meowing, but like very scared, and I've never heard that in Singapore in a year of living here. So I go to see what's happening. I see him like at the other side of a fence, just like meowing, crazy, scared, meow, 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 meow. So I was like, I can't just like leave this cat here. So I lifted the fence because I was like, maybe they're stuck, but he wasn't stuck. And he just walks out, and then I just picked him up like this. So I was like, I don't think this is a street cat because why would he let me just like pick him up? And I just started walking to see what would happen. And he just let me literally carry him all the way to my house. So I brought him home because I was scared he was lost. And anyways, I was just curious what your thoughts are. Like, it has the ear tip though. So I'm like, did I just steal a community cat or is this a lost cat? Like I posted it in all the groups and nobody said anything. And I was like, I don't know, is this my cat now? Like,
Sorry. So I guess this highlights a quite important issue. Like so Singapore in recent years is mandatory to microchip dogs. So
okay.
any dog that's abandoned, etc., you can scan a microchip, you can find the owner. But for cats, it's not mandatory yet, and that's why what you described poses a real challenge that we are unable to identify where the cat came from.
Like if it's a community cat or a personal
Yes,
cat.
exactly. So the fact that the cat is ear tip, is that the cat, by the way?
This is the cat. Yeah, I have two. The other cat is for sure a foster cat that was brought to me.
I see, I see.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you can see her down there. But this one is ear tipped, yes.
Yeah. So the ear tip simply means that the cat is sterilized, and then usually that would suggest that the cat may be a community cat, maybe not always, but most likely because the reason why they get ear tip is such that we are able to assess whether the cat is sterilized or not. So we don't need to go and catch the cat second time.
Right.
So
Yeah,
far you can
exactly.
see. So because so you have to guess, I would think that the cat is a community cat. But the fact that you actually
But
advertise,
it's in my community. Yeah, it's in my community. That's what's so confusing is I found her outside my house.
yeah,
I've never seen him before, so that's why I'm like,
yeah.
and we live in we live near Tanglin Club. That's not like a community cat type of neighborhood, you know.
So,
So
so usually, if a caregiver is missing a community cat, they will reach out as well to look for the community cat. So,
okay, so they'll look in the groups.
yeah,
Okay,
yes. So the fact that you tried and then
that's good.
and then
Yeah.
so that most likely there is no dedicated caregiver associated with the cat.
Okay, that's good. I
Yeah,
was like, I wasn't sure what the best thing to do is. So
yeah.
thank
So
you for answering.
See, this is the benefits of having a vet literally on call in the other screen.
I love it. Right? I can just ask everything I need.
I understand, Alyne, that you've fostered cats before.
Actually, this is my first time fostering cats. So I'm gonna put her down so she doesn't get annoyed, or him, whatever it is. So I think it's a boy. I've done a lot of animal rescue volunteering, but never in my house, except for I used to have a rescue fox
Right.
because I lived in the U.S.
That's so
and
cool.
yeah, and I worked in wild animal rescue. So I love foxes, and the place I volunteered, we'd have bobcats, foxes, parrots, all crazy stuff. And I was like, please let me adopt a fox if you ever have one. And I was like, please, please. And one day there was a baby fox that needed like a home, a foster, and I took it, and then I ended up keeping it. So I had a fox, but never cats. And these are my first cats, and my boyfriend is Muslim, and he's never had, before we dated, he never had like touched a dog or anything. And I was like, that's not going to work for me. So now he loves animals, and I'm like, not, I was like, I'm not connecting to these cats. Like, these are foster cats. Like, these are not our cats. We travel too much to have pets. And so then I was like, oh, somebody can adopt Winky, our other cat, the one that's playing right now. And he was like, no, tell them no. They can't adopt her because he wanted to keep her. And I was like, so then we kept her another week, and I was like, I don't think you understand what it means to adopt a cat. Like, this is like a 15-year commitment. Like, you can't just decide you like cats suddenly, and like now we have all these cats. So it's been really cute seeing somebody like convert to liking animals that before was like
A bit more
people are
scared
scared.
of certain types of animals. So, as someone who's now fostering cats for the first time, so I didn't realize that you fostered an entirely different type of animal. So how does the experience measure up, like cats and foxes? We don't get foxes.
Yeah, cats are much easier.
That would have been my guess. I didn't want to assume.
Foxes are like, they're not domesticated at all, right? This is a wild animal. This is a animal with bigger teeth than cats, and an animal that can climb anything and can dig anywhere. So we had to put like a huge enclosure in our backyard with a ceiling, and like to if I wanted to take her outside, I have to put her in like a harness so I can take her into nature.
Right.
When she was a baby, I would take her with me everywhere, like in my shirt or in my jacket. And if people asked, I'd be like, "It's a kitten. It's a dog. It's not a fox."
It's just a very different looking dog cat thing.
Yeah, they're just, when they're young, they look. You can easily realize it's not a fox. Like, unless you're an animal person, you see the white tip on the tail, you're like, it's obviously a fox. But for a normal person, they're like, it's a funny puppy, like it's a kitten.
I understand that even in Singapore there are requirements to protect the animal that you foster by making certain changes to the apartment or the house that you live in. Do you have any experiences with cat proofing your home?
Yeah, for us, we're supposed to, if you adopt a cat, I know it's ideal to have mesh on your windows. We don't have mesh because it was a last minute foster. But what we have is that we just literally never open the windows under any circumstance. And so there's just no open windows. We're the type of family that doesn't open windows anyways. If we're going to be honest, we use AC. So it's an easy adjustment. There's no like room for error. My boyfriend is the cutest. He's like the police of the windows. He's like always checking, like making sure nobody opened the windows. We do have a back door that goes to a balcony, but there's two doors. You have to go through the kitchen door and the balcony door.
Right.
And so we always require that both of those doors be closed. Even if you go in the kitchen for 30 seconds, you need to close it. And that way the chances of anything going wrong are low. But ideally, you will have meadows if you live in a high rise. We don't live that high, but we live high enough that it's scary.
So as a first time cat fosterer, then what are the greatest rewards and challenges that you've experienced so far?
I'll start with challenges and then we'll end on a high note.
Yeah.
So the greatest challenges were the first cat, Winky, is potty trained. Thank goodness. So Winky is totally potty trained. But Winky's challenge was when Winky came here, he was like so scared of us and just hid under the bed. And I was like, uh-oh, this cat does not like us. But it just took one day and then he became friendly. You know, with cats, it's different from dogs. With a dog, you might approach the dog, but with a cat, you wait for the cat to approach you, you know. So we just gave him some space. Another challenge was, you know, right after rescuing, I don't know if you can see them, right after rescuing Winky, we brought this other little Winky. We brought another cat into the house, and we had never, first of all, fostered, now it's two stranger cats in the same house. So we started watching all these cat videos, like how to introduce cats, the cat whisperer, and all this stuff. And we're so excited because it said it would take like 3 weeks of like daily feeding on the other side of the door, and you move the food closer together and all this stuff. And after 3 days, we were able to mix them together, and now they can just be fine. So that was a positive side.
Your
the other positive side is what?
You've got overachiever cats, like 3 weeks within 3 days.
What we told them, we said, you're back on the street if you don't get along. I can't deal with this door closing over that. And the best part is, obviously, you have cats in the house. They're so cute. Winky, when he runs, he meows. He goes, and it's very, very cute. And all the rooms, they sleep with us. They crawl in the covers. You know, they're just very cute and fluffy. It's great. Big benefit.
So, I think number 3 is on the horizon.
What? Number 3? I know. I was like, I cannot find any more cats. Like, I cannot look at that. We almost brought another kitten. I was on a Facebook group and I was like, I showed my boyfriend. I was like, "There's 3 kittens. They need a house." And he was like, Alyne.
No, not.
Like, we have a big house. Like, there's room for 3 more. You know.
But I think you'll need to gently adjust him to the concept of fostering means that they're not forever versus adoption, which means it is forever. So, I mean, if you're fostering 3 more, okay.
Yeah,
you can tell very clearly which side I'm on. I'm like,
exactly. You're on the take 3 more cat side.
It's while we're on the subject of cats, and while we've got Dr. Chow here, can you comment on the prohibition of having cats in HDBs? So why is it that dogs are okay, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, all these chinchillas, even all these things are okay, fish are okay, but not cats? Do you want to just take a comment on that?
So currently, SPCA has always been advocating for HDB to lift the ban on cats. Primarily, it's more for animal welfare. So when we finally acknowledge and officially recognize cats in HDB, that's the first step of having a regulatory framework to make sure that the cats are well taken care of. So, for example, right now, if let's say someone abandoned a cat, the cat's not microchipped, then we can never find the owner. So I think hopefully in Singapore we move towards allowing and acknowledging cats stay in HDB and then lifting the ban, then we can start engaging, talking about responsible cat ownership. Yeah.
So just before the session, I was curious about why this rule was there in the first place.
Yeah.
So I went and checked like the parliamentary notes on this, and apparently it's because cats are supposed to be prowlers and they will leave the house and they might, I don't know, defecate or otherwise disturb the neighbors. And then when they go into season, they're very loud. And so there was a perception, and this is back I think in 2002 when the parliamentary debates were going on, 2002 or 2008. They were thinking that it would be best to just not allow cats at all. But
Yeah.
as we've discovered, in the course of this discussion, we realized that things are changing, people are changing, there's a different perception toward pet ownership. Do you think that this is something that is going to change in our lifetime, or maybe even faster, maybe within the next few years?
I hope within the next few years, to be honest, because there's a big population of cats staying in HDBs.
Right.
And then talking about keeping a cat indoors, if you Google indoor pet initiative by Ohio State University, there's a lot of resources talking about how to provide indoor environment for your cat. So, actually, I don't encourage letting your cat out because as we say, we see a lot of accident cases, hit by car, very common. And then usually, if the cat wanders out and he get into a car accident, usually the pet owner doesn't know. But then a member of the public would witness the accident and then they'll call our rescue officer to go down and rescue the cat. And then we see all these cases come in on a daily basis. And then even from a biodiversity point of view, it's good to keep the cat indoor as well. And there are a lot of ways to provide enriching environment for a cat indoor. It's a learning curve. Just need to go and find out how to do it. Actually, I have a cat as well. Let me
You
go
got a
and,
cat too. My
uh,
goodness.
I brought him back from Australia. I'll go and dig him up.
Oh, fantastic. So I suppose that the lesson here is that there are so many ways to just bring a very enriching environment into your home, whether from a basic level, we talked just now about meshing. Hello! Oh, we have a cat. Hello, darling. Oh, what's this guy's name? Oh, he just gave us all kitchen kisses. Our lives have been greatly blessed by kitty kisses. And I think everyone's got all their animals in the house right now. This is amazing. I'm so pleased. So what's his name? What's the Australian
Rocco,
cat's name?
Rocco, yeah, Rocco. He's a field foster as well. I was fostering for a rescue group in Australia,
Right.
and then he ended up in Singapore. Yeah,
Crossing borders to
yeah.
care for animals. That's our Dr. Chow.
Yeah, I mean, he came with three other kittens, so there were four of them. We were fostering four of them, and then the other three found homes, and he didn't. So I brought him back with me. Yeah.
Actually, that's a relevant question for Alyne then.
Yeah.
One of the questions coming in from Dane. Could you introduce Chairman and Winky more? Like, what type of family or adopters would suit them? That is, if you guys are truly going to let them go to different homes.
I saw that question. That's why I was trying to show the cat a little more. This is Winky. So Winky is, I would say, Winky is affectionate on Winky's terms. Winky Winky doesn't like to be held. You can move Winky, like you can lift him and move him around, but he's not a cat that wants you to pick him up and walk around the house with him. Let me try and show you his eyes. They're really beautiful. Can you look here, Winky? Hi. So Winky is very active. He's playful. He likes to play with his toys. Of course, he likes to sleep a lot too, but he also likes to play with his toys. Right now, he's in sleepy mode. I think he would be good for, like, I don't think there's any family he wouldn't be good for unless you have, like, babies or something. I think he'd be fine with any kid that's old enough to understand, like, when to give space and when not to give space. He's not one of those cats you can just grab and, like, you can't, like, attack. Some cats are like little gummy bears. They don't do anything. But you definitely need to be like over age 7 or 8 where you're like, oh, Kitty doesn't want to play right now. Or Kitty does want, oh, now he's playful. Now you're playful, my Ritter Anger. So, yeah, very playful, high activity during the day or the night whenever he decides to wake up. And very cute. And his number one selling point, in my opinion, is the way he runs and meows at the same time. He He's like a dog sometimes. Like if I leave right now the room, he's gonna follow me. Anywhere I go in the house, he's gonna follow me like a dog. It's cute. Yeah. Oh, you can hold it, Poopie. Hi, 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 hi. Yeah, I don't know what other questions to answer specifically.
I suppose you've already answered the next question. Like, how do you think he'd get along with other cats? If you've managed to get Chairman and him to make friends, I suppose.
He's good with other cats. Chairman Meow is the problem cat. So, with getting along. So Winky is very good with other cats. Of course, they have moments. He likes to hunt. So the other cat will be hunted, like in a playful way. He likes to chase and then, the tail or the butt. So very playful, would definitely do well with other cats. Yeah. When we brought Chairman Meow, he was just very curious. He was not hissing at all or anything right away, right off the bat.
So what about the Chairman? So which one are you and your boyfriend more attached to? Which one is more likely to be, I understand the term is a foster fail?
You want to go on the camera, sweetie? Which one are you? He's the one.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Which one are we more attracted to? I've never had animals in my life. I mean, it has a pulse, so it's quite interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I like them both, to be honest. They're actually very, very interesting. The combination of the two cats makes one perfect cat. So we have two imperfect cats.
As it is in life, I suppose, we always are greatly enriched by the things that we bring together. So do you want to give an introduction to Chairman Meow?
Yes. Is Chairman Meow up for grabs too?
That's up to you, sweetie.
I don't know. Have they seen it? Have they seen?
They've seen Chairman Meow, but we haven't done a full introduction.
Okay. Chairman Meow is.
Do you want to keep Chairman Meow?
I mean,
are you adopting publicly?
Chairman Meow is like what? It's like an object at this point. It's like it doesn't move. It's very easy to maintain. Maintenance is so super easy. Doesn't move. Doesn't.
You described him as a snake because he's very slinky.
He's very slinky.
Also, we like slinky cats.
But he's very fluffy. I think the fluffiest thing in the world. And he's got really nice eyes. But he doesn't make a lot of noise, unfortunately. And I like people that make a lot of noise.
He doesn't make noise like Winky. Like he won't run and meow like Winky. He doesn't follow you like Winky. Right. But his benefit is you can do stuff like this. Which you cannot do with Winky.
Squishy.
Exactly. He's purring right now, so I'm not being abusive. Don't worry, he's purring. He likes, this kind of stuff. Whereas Winky will not like this. Winky wants to play, not to be,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like a sloth a little bit. He just melts. A cute little sloth. A cute sloth. Woo!
Yeah. Is there interest in them?
He's a liquid cat.
They can decide if they're interested in that.
Wow.
See, he's already getting.
So he would go really well in a family where you two like a lot of cuddles. You also like a lot of quiet companionship in your life. Then maybe Chairman Meow would be a good fit for you. We've got a question coming in from Charmaine. Will we see Alyne more active in the pet charities in Singapore?
Yeah, I've tried. So the truth is, I've tried really hard to be active. In the past, I mean, I've gone to shelters in person. I've tried to foster, but in the past, I wasn't allowed to foster because I travel so much.
Right.
So to foster, most of the time, you need to be like fostering for 4 months or so, and I'm traveling, so I can foster for like 2 weeks. So. Yeah, I'm very happy to be active, and I've gone to a lot of adoption events and stuff before, but it's mostly I post about it on my Instagram stories. So people following on Instagram, they'll see when I go to all this stuff. This is Winky, by the way.
Oh, we can see like his flirtatious eye.
Yes, always Winky.
So, since the work of a fosterer is so important in reducing overcrowding in shelters and preparing the animals for adoption, this is a question for both of you. Are there any rules against fosterers adopting the animals they care for? I suppose the answer might be no, since we've covered this. What's the procedure like then? Converting from a fosterer to an adopter?
So I guess the first part is the decision to adopt an animal has to be a sincere and deliberate one. And then after you decided that you have the capacity to make this commitment, and then you want to make this commitment, and then usually you go through the adoption procedure through the animal welfare group that you get the pet from, the cat from.
Right.
Yeah, so you let them know that you are interested in transitioning from a fosterer to the rightful owner. And then usually then you'll go through the usual adoption process, I would imagine. Yeah.
So that, I suppose, would be an adoption process that is very similar depending on which adoption group you go through, and it just comes down, if you're talking about a dog, you need to apply for the licenses.
Yeah.
So it's a procedure that's quite clear cut. There's no hidden strings or anything. If you're making that decision, go on, Dr. Chow.
Currently, the adoption process for the different animal welfare groups, I think they all have the differences. So you better to check. So then, I think at the end of the day, there is to be some paperwork, and you have to read the terms and conditions properly. And they're all a bit different, so you better check with the individual AWG. And the advantage of fostering is also because you know the fostered cat or dog, how they are with your current pets.
Right.
So you can just see the current right now. And, so that's an advantage. Yeah.
So I suppose you can't speak. Go on, Alyne.
Okay, I was going to say, I think something from the fosterer's perspective to keep in mind is that your first week or so might be difficult because it's an adjustment. So just remembering, like, don't judge the animal based on the first week's behavior because, they're just adjusting. They might not go poopy in the litter box. The dog might bark a lot or something. But it's because it's a whole new atmosphere. They don't speak English or Singlish. So they don't know what's going on. So remembering, like, wait a week or two before you start to, like, this is the actual behavior of the animal. So that's something that helps. And then if you do want to adopt, I highly suggest fostering because, like Audrey was saying, you can check first. It's like a try before you buy in a nice way. You're still helping the animal by giving them a place to live for a while and so they're not stuck in a shelter situation. And then if you do decide, you'll find as you're fostering, you'll find an animal where you're like, I don't want someone to adopt this one. When they inquire, you're like, no, you can't adopt. And that would be when to adopt. And like Dr. Chow was saying, the procedure is different depending on the organization. Some are more rigorous. Some are, less. Some are big. Some are small. So they have different paperwork and stuff like that. But it's really not complicated. It's pretty simple. You just have to make sure they're vaccinated and so it's safe and everything like that.
So we're going to pick that out and ask Dr. Chow, since the SPCA has this fostering program, why don't you tell everyone what the SPCA's procedure is for adoption, for the foster care program into adoption maybe?
Yeah, so the adoption the process in SPCA is usually a questionnaire. Then after that, there's counseling and a screening by one of our colleagues, and then after that, we just want to find out more about how I can provide the care for after you adopt the animal. And then sometimes we would ask for the rest of the family members to come down if there's a few different caregivers.
Right.
And then usually, for example, Project Adore, there's usually a fostering period at the beginning. So it's a 1 month fostering to make sure that the dog is able to transition into the new environment and everything goes well. And then after that, if you decide to adopt, then we proceed to adoption. And then after the adoption Project Adore, there's actually a training session for the new owner and the dog. There's like 4 to 6 sessions long. So it's quite a comprehensive program for Project Adore. Contrary to, for example, if you get a dog from a pet shop, the dog doesn't come with dog training programs for the dog owner. So the dog training really is important for the dog, but it's also arguably more important for the human. A lot of times it's training the human as well, learning all these cues, how to interact with a dog. So that's the adoption process. Even for rabbit, guinea pig, chinchillas, there's a lot more counseling because a lot of people think that a dog or cat's a lot of work. So in the end, they would adopt something easier like a rabbit or a guinea pig.
Right.
But guinea pig and rabbit is not easy. They are probably even harder. So there's a lot important of education, counseling. So rabbits and guinea pigs are not easy pets. Everyone, really, yeah.
just because you can pick them up and
Yeah.
put them somewhere else does not mean that they don't have complex emotions and
Yeah.
complex needs the same way that a dog or a cat or any bigger animal might have.
Yeah.
So if anyone watching the stream right now is interested in being a fosterer, what kind of criteria should they fulfill? And Alyne, maybe you can jump in as well. Like, what does it take to be a good animal fosterer?
I think the number one thing it takes is patience and understanding,
Right.
and not forcing, especially with cats, like you don't force it to live your lifestyle right away. You wait for it to adjust. I think having someone home would be nice. It doesn't need to be all the time because cats sleep during the day anyways. But having someone available at least part of the time, to invest a little bit of time spending with your cat, it's really not that hard. I mean, the great thing about fostering is that when you foster through a program, they help you with everything. Like they brought me cat litter, they brought me food, I didn't do, it was so easy. It's like a delivery service. They bring the cat to your house. When it's sick, they pick it up and they take it to the doctor for me. It's like insane. It's like luxury pet ownership. So, it's really, they make it easy for you in many foster programs where they are helping you. You have someone you can text all the time if there's something on, and they'll answer you. So it doesn't take much except patience and realizing, something will go wrong in the first few days, but it's fine because then you'll adjust and then it will be great after. And cats are quite low maintenance. Dogs are more effort, but dogs are great too. I like dogs. Just it's not more. So, but you have to have different levels of commitment. I would say if you're new to animals, maybe start with a cat, less effort to foster, and then you can graduate to dogs, which are more effort because you need to walk them. If they might be aggressive to other dogs, you need to be prepared for that. Like I'm from America, so I live in a house normally. So it's weird to me. I was fostering dogs before actually. And I was like, oh my God, I have to take this dog in an elevator with stranger dogs. It's like a 1 square foot meter area with like stranger dogs. And in the US, it's like, if you see another dog, you cross the street. Like there's no close quarters. So just adjusting to stuff like that. But just patience. And that's it. The foster companies take care of everything else. They literally bring it to your house.
So you start with cats, and then if you're used to that, you graduate to dogs, and then after that, when you get to Alyne's level, you get foxes.
Then you go to foxes and cats.
So Dr. Chow, if someone were keen to become a fosterer, what kind of criteria should they fulfill?
If you go to the SPCA website, there's a questionnaire for fostering. Actually, criteria wise is quite broad. Like, I guess the first is you're willing to do it, and then some of the fosterers during circuit breaker, first time fosterers, or they have never owned a pet before. So for them, it's also a trial. And then if you're willing to try, if you acknowledge that it's going to be a learning curve by willing to commit, I think that's enough. And then as you learn as you go along. Currently, there's a lot of fosterers because of circuit breaker adoptions has slowed down. So it's just so that the cat or the dog don't just sit in a cage throughout these 2 months during circuit breaker.
Right.
And then at least they got a home environment, they got some human interaction. They learned how to interact with humans because sometimes it doesn't really come naturally to the animal. So fostering actually is very, very helpful for the different AWGs in Singapore.
That's really something that we don't think about enough, I guess. So it's great that we're having everyone on the show. We're having this discourse right now. And we've got Dane, who's very keen. How do potential adopters reach out to adopt Winky or Chemin?
You can email me directly, which is dearalyne@gmail.com, dearalyne@gmail.com. You can probably reach out to the people I'm fostering from. I don't know, like if there's a place I should put this information, like in the comments or something. I can copy and paste the phone number in the comments. You can email me directly. I'll write my email in the comments. And to adopt with me. Okay.
See, this is all happening live. This is why we live stream, so we can get the information out. No, no, no.
Yes, and then all the information is here in the comments. I have posted it now. It is there. And so, yeah, we would love, especially, once circuit breaker is over, we might not be home as much, so it would be nice for, them to have a more permanent place. And the truth is, the reason I don't want to adopt permanently, even though my boyfriend does, as you saw, is because I know we probably won't live in Singapore permanently.
Right.
And so I don't think it's smart for us to adopt a long living animal when we are moving all the time. And we will probably move, and where we move might not allow cats. And, with coronavirus, it's even harder to move animals internationally. So that's why I prefer fostering for now, so that we are the temporary place until they find a permanent place. And then once we're more settled down someday, then we can have permanent.
And that's great. So as a potential fosterer, these are considerations that you should be thinking about as well. And things about like what direction your life is heading in, what the future holds, because like Alyne was saying, it's a 15-year commitment. And it's not something to be taken lightly. So Alyne, the animal welfare groups in Singapore during circuit breaker especially are really, really having a rough time. And COVID-19 has prevented them from engaging in their usual activities such as fundraising, education, outreach campaigns. All of these have stopped. Adoption drives have stopped. So as someone, can we call you an online phenomenon? Can we call you someone who's an expert in this field?
You can call me anything you want.
Would you be able to offer these groups any advice on how to transfer some of these things that they do online and continue their effort with the use of social media? What tips and tricks would you have for them?
Sure, I would say there's a few things that could be experimented with. One is, of course, getting cute videos of each of the animals in good lighting. So you'll notice, like, even on this live, I kept moving the computer so that the window light was coming towards the cats instead of against the back of the cats. So making sure you always have light coming towards you. So for example, right now, if I'm a cat, meow meow, so I'm filming this way. So the light source, the window is behind the laptop. And if I turn this way, and let's say I did the whole live like this, imagine, it's horrific. You can't see me, you can't see my personality. So when you're filming the potential adopter cats or animals, make sure they're facing a light source, like a window during the day. It's hard to photograph animals and to take videos of animals. I used to have an entire Instagram that was dedicated to like me taking pictures of rescue animals, so I know it's hard, but it is worth it. Like when you get that one expression, there's also like something on your own for most phones called the photo burst. Essentially, it's when you press down and hold the photo button, and it'll take like 100 pictures in 2 seconds. So that way you can get like the funny expressions of your pet or of your foster. And also waiting until they're sitting, like this picture I took of Winky when Winky was sitting in the good light, And this is just a phone photo, it's nothing fancy. But if I just wait until Winky is sitting, staring out the window, I know I'll get a better picture than if he's in like some dark corner. I have some other really cute ones. Yeah, those are some tips. And then after you get these cute photos and videos, like what do you do with them, right? So you can either do individual posts about each animal, or you can do a post where you have 5 animals featured. You can feature like 5 animals that are great for HDBs, or 5 animals that are great for this. And that way people will share it to the right demographic. 5 animals that would be great with kids. And so you can kind of categorize them into categories that you create to make more marketable.
Right.
Also I know everyone's already trying to do this, but even virtual adoption drives. Get some good lighting. This is I don't have any professional lights, but it's very well lit. It's just a room with big windows. Getting the good lighting, bringing the animals, featuring them one by one. You can market it as like, are you feeling sad during coronavirus? Watch these puppies and kittens. You don't even have to market it as an adoption drive. And then during the drive, you can be like, oh, these are available for adoption, da da da. So using stuff like this, like my old job was doing retreats. I would host retreats in real life, and we'd go to Bali, and I would teach content creation. But now that we have circuit breaker, I cannot go flying with 20 people to an island.
Right.
So I can do it online, and it's very pleasant, and it works just as well. So kind of like you guys are doing now, mastering the online interaction world. And I think you can do some great stuff like that because people are bored at home, and this is a great time for everyone to adopt.
And on that note, I suppose we will be having an adoption drive this time next Sunday at 12:30. We'll have cats and dogs. So if anyone's looking to see how we implement all these tips that Alyne just gave us, have a look at what we put out next week, and hopefully we would have absorbed all this good stuff and we're putting it into practice. So fingers crossed, and please give us like a rating, see how much we actually learned from you.
I'm sure it'll be a high rating.
Fingers crossed. Is there any last words you'd like to leave the viewers with? Either of you. Okay, let's start with the ladies first.
So for me, I would just say if you've been considering fostering or adopting, now is the perfect time. This is the most perfect time of your life ever because you're stuck at home. You will have time to spend with the animals. They're great companions. If you feel sad or lonely or down, petting a cat or a dog makes you feel better immediately. It's science, I think. So now is a perfect time for that. And you can always foster if you're insecure about a long-term commitment. And make sure your friends know. Share this type of stuff with your friends. If your friend calls you and says, I feel down, suggest, why don't you foster a pet for a little bit? Something like that. And Dr. Chow, do you have anything?
I guess there's a lot happening right now in Singapore in the animal welfare world. A big part of it, I guess, primarily we just to come from a place where we think for the benefit of the animal. At the end of the day, I think it's important to pause and not to get sucked in by the emotions, and then be kinder. I think the whole world can afford a bit more kindness. And Singapore has come a long way for animal welfare, and then there's a lot more room for improvement. And sometimes I think working together will be more productive than against each other. So I look forward to working with everyone in the future.
That's a brilliant way, and I think we're going to leave it there with that message of kindness, that message of empathy and hope during these rough times. Everyone's having a difficult time staying at home. I know that mental health is something that everyone needs to be taking care of, to take care of themselves, a little bit of self-love, a bit of self-care. And animals, an adopted animal at that, is something that can be a great part of that life and that self-care for yourself, because when you foster, you're allowing a brand new energy into your home, and it's going to be something that will be nothing but good for you and your family. And remember that when you adopt, you're saving two lives. You're saving the life of the animal that you are bringing into your home, and you're also saving the life of the person, of the animal rather, that takes the spot of that animal you adopted in the shelter. So you're doing so much good in just one easy step of just bringing an animal into your life. So we're going to let our guests go. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for so long and sharing all these fantastic tips. We've learned so much, Dr. Chow, about what the SPCA does and doesn't do. We've learned so much about the real gut-wrenching reality of euthanasia and how nothing is ever convenient for the vet. Nothing is ever easy for the vet. And from Alyne, thank you so much for giving us that inside perspective of being a cat foster mommy. And the difference between the experiences you've had in Singapore versus overseas, and those very nifty social media tricks that I'm sure will be all over for our next session. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're going to let the two of you go while I bring on someone really special. We've got Melody coming up, so just hold on your seat. Do not disappear from the live stream, everyone watching at home. But we're going to let Dr. Chow and Dearleen go. See you guys later.
Bye. See you. Thank you.
Now we've got to tell you about a couple of fantastic deals from our. Ooh, I'm not sure if I'm still in this, but I'm just going to tell you guys about the sponsors just for a little while. There are some fantastic deals from our wonderful sponsors. We've got Peachy Shares Her Treats, and she's offering 10% off their products. So if you use the code PAL10 and that's all in caps and it is case sensitive. When you make your online purchase, they will donate 10% of their proceeds from orders with this code to Project Adopt Live. So do check out their website to explore their natural and holistic approaches to pet care, and check out their stay-at-home bundle promotion. Ooh, we like a bundle promotion, offering $35 worth of treats and chews for just $25. So click the link below for more details. And our next sponsor, Fluffy Friends Forever, will give you a $5 discount on paracord braided leashes if you make your purchase using the code PALXFX3. You get 20% off the proceeds. Well, 20% of the proceeds from these sales will go to Project Adopt Live, and they've also very kindly donated 10 of these amazing paracord leashes to be included in our adoption starter kit. And finally, as always, we've got to leave you guys with the wise words of the woman behind this project, the woman with the big dreams and the big heart, the woman who founded Hope for Animals and brought together all these wonderful people and organizations to rally around the cause of Project Adopt Live. Please welcome Melody Tan!
Hi Audrey.
So
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you wonderfully. So I understand that on top of bringing all these people together, on top of getting all these animals to be part of this online program, I understand there's going to be a charity Zoom Pilates class next Sunday on the 31st of May after our live stream. So this is going to be from 4 to 5 p.m. taught by certified instructor Marissa from our kind sponsor Practique Bodywork, and she's going to be donating full proceeds to our partnered animal shelters suitable for all ages with a minimum of $10 suggested donation, although you can donate as much as you like. And you can get your Zoom link emailed to you by filling in this form, which is up right now. Just scan the QR code and all proceeds go to funding the shelter. How did you manage to get this? This is so cool.
Well, actually, it's not me. The great thing about I think our initiative is that we have people from different areas of expertise, and one of our volunteers, Shamin, actually go to Pilates quite often, and one of her friends actually offered to do it for this charitable cause, and
Right.
that's why she came on board. So that's the awesome thing. I think the amazing part is that we bring everybody from different industries together to help the main cause and to help give back to society as well.
Well, that's brilliant. So this is something that you guys have been working on for a while. Oh, sorry. My dog wants to say hello to Auntie Melody. Like, hello, I know that voice. So yes,
Why
Melody.
is it auntie and not this?
It's all right. When you're friends with the parents, then you're
That's true.
right, no matter the age. So
It's okay. My fat one also want to say, she's just like sleeping here, so
oh,
you know.
okay. So I will let. She was like, okay, enough, camera.
I think the one amazing thing about what we are doing so far is that really from every industry, people are actually coming together to help for this main cause. I mean, considering everybody is really affected by the COVID-19. So one amazing thing is that we are practicing a lot more compassion now. And like earlier on, Dr. Chow was mentioning that we really do need to practice that, especially to fight against it together as a group rather than against each other. So I think one amazing part is that we are working together with a few different industries, and that let other industries to also explore opportunities to work together with us. Like Pilates, honestly, they have nothing to do with pets, but that doesn't stop them from actually helping in this charitable cause as well, right?
So it's fantastic that people are doing what they can and just coming together. How do you think that you managed to pull this amazing team together?
I won't say that it's me per se. I would just say that I think at any point of time, you just need somebody to probably reach out. I think one problem that we have in our society, or maybe just around the world in general, is that we may be a little bit afraid to ask for help. So that's where I may be a little bit more thick-skinned, because I'm a person whereby I feel that all the help I can get, I would love it, because I love the idea of bringing the community together. Probably because when I was younger, my parents already got me involved in charitable causes. We helped a lot of humans, a lot of people mainly in the community. So I think that is probably the reason why I'm not so afraid to ask. I think
Right.
asking is just the first step. Getting the people together is a bigger step, because you will need to have people who have the same idea, the same mindset to come together with the same goal and objective, and then from there we can lead together as a group. Ultimately, how we actually form the PAL initiative is simply by asking, just sharing our idea and just asking whether there's anyone keen to help. And then from there, we just managed to get, people from MCs that are like people like you who have been affected in the COVID-19. We have photographers, videographers. We even have dancers, script writers, and everything. So like the previous episode, I think I gave special thanks to some of them, and I just thought that showing appreciation to everybody in the group definitely makes at least it shows that we are all appreciative of each other's efforts. So although at this current point of time our photographers are not able to go out and take photos, they are still trying as much as they can to plan ahead, so that once the COVID-19 ends, they can really be active, helping out the shelters to take photos of their pets, put it up for adoption, and give really, really nice photos to them in general, so that it's easier for them to shout out about the adoption.
And this dovetails very nicely with what Alyne was telling us about what all shelters and all these interest welfare groups can take note of when we're trying to push the agenda of getting more animals into homes, whether as fostered or whether as adoptees. It's all these little small tips and tricks that we can all put into practice. So we had a fantastic session. Did you have any input about all the things we talked about? We spoke about fostering, we spoke about social media, we spoke about the very thorny yet topical subject of how vets fit into the mind frame of doing what they need to do, especially when it comes to the very difficult subject of euthanasia.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just go a little bit of a point form. So regarding the vets portion, I think one thing that earlier on Dr. Chow mentioned is that we really do need to practice compassion and a little bit more kindness to one another. We need to also hear all sides of the story before we make our judgment. I think the problem is that some people, because we get too emotional, invested, that we tend to lash out without finding the actual stories or finding the actual truth behind the situation. And I think this is something that we really need to take a second look at, because we don't want that happening to ourselves if we are ever in that position, right?
Yes.
So I think probably because of that, the it doesn't help the situation. I think what we need to do is to work in a more effective way. So if you realize is that we Hope for Animals, we are very strict with our standpoint. We don't get involved in things that we cannot do something about. I think at the end of the day, if we're going to get involved, we need to make sure that we find out all information. We need to find out every single thing, and we need to think about how to solve the problem instead of how to make the problem even bigger. I think we need to focus on coming up with a solution instead of just lashing out. So one of the thing I think that is something that we really need to practice in our society. And with regards to fostering, I'm also a foster fail. So I can't say much about that. I actually found two dogs. They were basically sleeping on the mountain bike area. So there's a mountain bike area in Singapore, and one of my friends, he was going down the slope and he called me. He was like, dude, I almost run down two puppies.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so like coincidentally, I was on MC that day, so I went down and found these two little puppies that were just so innocently sitting on a pathway that could have been run over.
Right.
And I was really, really scared of how to handle the situation. We couldn't look for the mom. I mean, we did saw the mom from afar, and we did try to go back to get her, but I think by the time that we went back, she probably moved her puppies, and that's where we had a problem. But we did leave our number and the contact to the person that was in charge of the area to let us know once the mom come back, so that we can actually do something about it. Sadly, we didn't manage to find the mom, even though we scouted the area for a fair bit. But we managed to actually get these two puppies. They were actually very malnourished. I think partially because in the wilderness, it's not easy for a pet to survive, especially in Singapore. We don't have that many forested area to begin with, so a lot of these pets, animals, they do need some care. Some animals really do not cope well in living in the wild. They are better domesticated. So thankfully, these two, I was fostering them, and we were going through like some checks and everything. I brought them to the vet. Basically, I was really young. I think I just started my first job. So I think I was like 21, 22 years old, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and I was supposed to rehome them. My mom ended up falling in love with one of them.
Oh.
And yeah, he's still with us until today. So yeah, I can't say much for the fostering, but I think one thing good about fostering is that it gives you an insight on whether you are ready to have a pet of your own or
Right.
not. Similar to what Alyne mentioned earlier on, is that sometimes you think you want a pet so badly, but maybe in the current situation it's not suitable for you because of your current career plans or current plans at that point of time. You're gonna travel a lot, so I think these are very important stuff to take into account.
And considerations that everyone who's watching at home can think about, to figure out how everything fits in and just what part that you want to do if you don't feel like you are in a position to foster or adopt an animal. You can still make a contribution through a donation, perhaps, or you can volunteer at the shelters themselves. They always need people to walk the animals, clean out the areas. What other things can they do at home?
For people who are interested to still help out the society, I think one thing good is that they can reach out to us. So apart from helping the shelters, I think we can help out in more ways than that. We can use our skills to actually promote it better. We honestly will never know what we can come up with. I mean, the Pal initiative, when we started the live streaming, we didn't expect things to grow so wild and so big. So we had people from different industries coming together. We had dancers and everything. So naturally, when we form up the group, we weren't sure how to tie it in. And somehow or other, our dancer volunteer managed to tie in a Pilates group. So that's how you actually can contribute in that way. It's not necessarily that you have to have a special skill, but you can use that skill to your advantage.
And one of the groups rather, using their skills to their advantage is the Hope for Animals artist team. So in
Yes.
case you missed it, they've relaunched the bark ornament series where you can get your pet personalized to a bark ornament for just $45.
Mm.
Purchase this via the QR code on the screen or via the link in the captions. Melody, thank you so much for spending time with us and for spearheading this fantastic initiative. I thank you. The animals thank you. The shelters thank you. I think you've been doing a fantastic job. So, on that
That,
note, we're going to let everyone get back to their Sundays. This is Melody. She's the person who started Hope for Animals and Project Adopt Live. My name is Audrey Lim. I hope everyone's been able to hear me. And thank you again to our guests, Dr. Chow from SPCA, Alyne from Dear Alyne, and with the special guest star of her boyfriend, Naz from Naz Daily. It was a really, really productive and interesting Sunday afternoon. And thank you for spending it with us. I'll see you around.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.